Days Gone has been and is one of the most anticipated video game titles of 2019. But you haven't really decided if you should spend $60 to whether buy it or not. Well folks, today we're going to be speaking about a few things on before you pre-order Days Gone. Hey, what's going on folks, my name's Blackwoods and welcome back to another brand new Days Gone series starting off on this channel. From today, you'll get to see everything you need to know about Days Gone right in here. So, before you pre-order Days Gone, there are a few things you might want to know about the game. Like the game's reviews from the people who have got their hands onto the game, what type of a game it is, and is the storyline worth paying $60 or not. So before we jump right into the topic, let me tell you that Days Gone has an embargo agreement signed up with a few content creators who have got their hands on early with the game and has been asked to keep their mouth shut on giving out their personal reviews on the game or even leak out any of the information about the game at all costs, until the day before the game's worldwide release, when the embargo agreement's going to be expired on 25th of April, and that's when you're going to be getting all kinds of reviews on this game to see if it's worth buying or not and how the gameplay feels so far and much more. But the problem here is that it's just one day before the game's actual full release. But luckily fellows, I have a fellow YouTuber who also got invited to the early hands-on session to the Days Gone and had his hands-on with the game early, and since he has signed up a contract with Days Gone which makes him liable to the embargo, so he cannot really review the game personally until 25th of April himself. But I've spoken to him, asked him a few things about the game itself, and got a few personal reviews from him on what he personally thinks about the game and if it's even worth the price or not. And luckily, since I'm not signed up with the contract itself, I have all the rights to share my own thoughts and opinions I received from my personal contacts. So, before you buy Days Gone, you should already know this by now that Days Gone is a dynamic open-world survival horror game with zombies like mutants who were humans once upon a time and are now called the Freakers due to some scientific experiments going terribly wrong, and the world has turned tides against the humanity's survival itself. Well, Freakers are not the only threat you will come across the world, but also the human scavenging survivors and biker gang factions, thieves at most the survivors, and the wildlife residing in the post-apocalyptic world of Days Gone. The weather system in Days Gone is said to be completely dynamic, and the gameplay experience for the same mission might vary depending on the climatic changes of the weather system. You can now use the nature's weather system and your surroundings as your advantage and cause a complete chaos, or take it easy and try out the stealth mode in approaching an objective. Like I said, it's completely up to you folks on what you guys want to do with your game and how you want to play it. Given with all these informations, you may still think, is the game even worth buying? So let's start off with the pros and cons of Days Gone. And let's see if that actually helps you change your mind on whether or not to pre-order the game, or maybe even buy the game or not scenario. It's up to you guys completely. So let's start off with the good things first, the pros. As far as the information goes, Days Gone feels and plays absolutely fantastic. The gameplay feels really smooth, and one of my favorite things about Days Gone is the graphics of the game. The graphics looks fantastic with the dynamic system included. The best graphic visuals of the game so far is when the weather turns foggy around the woods, and especially when it is snowing. Visual wise, the game looks stunning, and if you're playing it on a 4K display on a PS4 Pro, then you sure will drop your jaws looking at it. Now the game has a very similar crafting system that we've already seen in the game called The Last of Us, which had a really warm welcome by the fans and people seem to have really liked it. You can now handcraft weapons and ammunition for your weapons by scavenging around the world and looking for some scavenging parts and looking around for some crafting parts. You can now also deconstruct a few motorbike parts and turn that into a temporary weapon, which gives you a real unique interaction feel to the game. You can also unlock safe houses across the map where Deacon can build his community and survivors and also rest up if you want to, and they can also be used for fast traveling from one base to another. But remember, fast traveling can also cost fuel, as Deacon uses his bike to fast travel across the map from one place to another. The map is fairly large enough and has a lot of dynamic interactions happening all the time, like you might be riding on a bike one fine sunny day and there might be a group of bandits trying to rob you or set a trap again for someone else to fall into. The game has a lot of side quests, which allows the player to interact with even after you've completed the main story missions. Deacon's bike can now be upgraded completely from parts to parts, and you can eventually add a nitros to the exhaust to speed up your bike much faster than it usually is. The Freaker's AI system looks very dynamic and unpredictable, as they can do things you might have completely never expected, which makes it really hard for you to not focus on the current threat that's around you. Overall, the game's perfect survival description would fit exactly the same as what we saw in The Dying Light. But as far as the information goes, Days Gone feels and plays much better than what we did in The Dying Light. The story narrative of Days Gone feels real cliché, and to be honest, I really do like it. The game not only shows the post-apocalyptic world sides of the story, but also the past of the characters that we meet and play as. Now that we have spoken about the pros, let's move on to a few things that I feel is really bad in Days Gone, as far as the informations that I've got from a few people who've got their hands on into the game early. So as far as what we know, the character animation of Deacon when running feels optimistically weird, like as if you were floating on a water. And they've also said that it feels very unrealistic, especially when Deacon starts to sprint, though the developers have stated that these might subject to change during the release, so we're not going to be taking that completely much into consideration. There were also a few character bugs and a few frame drop issues on the PlayStation 4 Pro during the alpha access, but since that was alpha, we are hoping to completely see that changed during its full release. The Freakers at night seem to be much faster and much more stronger than they were in daylight, which makes the game interestingly hard to play when the sun goes down. But I'm guessing this might be a feature most of you guys like, and some might not actually like the hardcore survival aspect of the game, who just want to sit back and relax while they're playing a game and not stress over on how hard the game is. There were a few stability issues with the game during different weather changes and different climatic changes introduced, and I don't really want that to be true when the game actually releases on 26th of April. So overall, according to the personal reviews, I think Days Gone will be a really good open world survival single player game of 2019. But the option to whether buy it or not is completely up to you guys, as I believe the ones that are watching the videos are adults and can make their own decisions. If you ask me on whether if you want to pre-order the game or not, I would say go for it if you're one of those guys who really care about the pre-order bonuses. And if you don't really care about those and are ready to wait up for a bit, then I will do an in-depth review of Days Gone on 26th of April when the game drops in on this channel. So the best way to watch them is of course by a subscription that is completely free. So make sure that you guys subscribe and don't forget to turn on those notifications. And if you guys want to watch more Days Gone videos on this channel, let's see if we can break at least 10 likes and I will make more dedicated Days Gone content. As long as you guys enjoy them and support the content on this channel, I will keep dropping much more Days Gone content in the sack. With that being said, let me know in the comments, are you guys going to pre-order Days Gone, or will you wait for the reviews to drop in on 26th of April after the release of the game and later decide if you want to buy it or maybe pass on it? Just let all your thoughts flow down below in the comments. Maybe someone could reply and maybe someone could just change your mind on what you personally think about the game. You never know. With that being said, folks, hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys did really enjoy this content, and I'll see you all on another video tomorrow. Take it easy, fams, and peace out.